Hi, welcome to Season 2, Episode 3 of Impact Effectively. If you've not been watching the earlier podcasts, this season is called Impacts Around the World, and I'm speaking to friends and associates around the world to find out how they are making an impact in their own way with NLP and other approaches. I'm Florence Madden. I'm an NLP trainer and coach based in Cumbria in the north of England. I'm the author of a book called The Intention Impact Conundrum, on which this whole series of podcasts is based, and also the co-author of Everyday NLP. I'm delighted to have as my guest today, Katrine Selvik, notice my attempt at pronunciation there, who is from Bergen in Norway. And she is the barrier breaker, but I'll let her tell you all about what it is that she does and how she makes an impact. So over to you, Katrine.
Thank you so much, Florence. I'm delighted to be part of your podcast. I think that is so enriching, where we can just say, what you're saying, across cultures, bridges, and just see the differences and turn differences into opportunities. So that's a little bit about what the barrier breaker really is. It's about turning differences into opportunities, breaking the barriers to open up to possibilities. So it might sound, maybe when you think of the barrier breaker as some cutting the bricks and being very hard and tough, but it's basically much more about interaction between humans. How we know that a lot of the barriers are in our heads, and we are also thinking a lot from our head, from our brilliant minds. That hinders good communications, good relationships, and then enormous, infinite, limitless possibilities. So I believe to break the barriers, then we can sort of enter into infinite possibilities where we co-create together. So it's a lot about yourself as a person, but then again, it's moving from your ego to us. So it's from me to you to us. So basically, it's going from connecting the mind and the body to utilize the whole of us. And that's a perspective that I use also with NLP, but also with my background as a Zumba instructor and a yoga instructor. So it's sort of to find that balance between mind, body, emotions, and energy.
Okay, so it's that kind of connectedness of everything, really, the body and the mind.
Yeah, and it's, I used to say, or I still say that, when you look in the mirror at yourself, you don't only see your head, and your head is very little percentage of your whole body, but something utilizing the whole of us, as you say, yes.
So tell me about, I suppose, typically the individuals or the groups that you work with and how you work with them.
Well, I've been used to work with leaders. And why I chose to work with leaders is because leaders work in organizations. So they have a big impact on other people because they lead teams. And I kind of started with, I have a background in the oil business, and I have seen like hands-on how when you lead only from your head, being very strategic, getting all these results going, and you totally forget about the human perspective.
Okay.
Something happens to people. So it's sort of from that I realized that I need to teach people how to lead from the heart. And when I say lead from the heart, I remember when I did that, when in my career in the international oil business, someone told me, but Katrine, you can't come here talking about romantics. We're not doing romantics. And I'm like, my goodness, I'm not romantic at all, but it's to me, I'm really passionate about people. And we have to see each other to kind of be able to secure that I am okay, you are okay, and we can be who we are with all our faults, all our strengths, all our weaknesses. And then when we can accept each other, then we can make huge impacts into the world. So I totally believe, and that's where I think about moving from ego to us, that we have to lead from the heart, to open up and encourage other people to do the same.
Okay. So if I'm interpreting what you're saying correctly, so leading from the heart is about, I suppose, our awareness, not just of ourselves, but of other people and what's going on for them, and making our interactions and our decisions based on that awareness of how other people are. Is that a way of putting it?
Yes, I think that's a really important way of seeing it, because it's got to do with, you know, how people become leaders or managers, and they kind of, I am a manager kind of thing, and it's their CV, it's their status, and they totally forget about that who am I managing?
Yeah.
Of course, myself, but also I'm kind of leading people, so together we can create something more. So it's first what you say, the awareness that we are humans, and how do kind of humans tick. And then it's kind of the passion at what do I want to bring to the world? What do I want to, you know, make grow even more? So it's sort of breaking out of the box, the normal thinking, to kind of realize that each and every one, and talking specifically about leaders, have the opportunity and their passion for doing what they are doing, beyond being a boss or a manager to just lead and have it on the CV, but that they can actually make a huge impact, impacting other people to dare to be themselves. And that's kind of a key, because when you are yourself with everything that you are, that's when you can create immensely things, you know, limitless opportunities, and turn them into great things that humankind have not even seen. So it's kind of a big vision of wanting to co-create a world where everyone wants to belong, where we all really want to belong.
Yeah. So you've talked about that kind of vision and what you're aiming for at that higher level. And I suppose a lot of it sounds to me about people becoming much, much more aware, not just of themselves, but of other people. So I wonder if you can give us an example of, and perhaps in a bit more detail, of how you actually work with people to achieve that.
Yes, I mean, I have some core values as a trainer, and as a human being, and those are the connection between people, that I think that is really important and enriching. So to create that connection is really important. And then it's to share, me sharing from my experiences and my knowledge, and also for other people to share back. Expansion for me is important, that I think when we connect like that and when we share, we can expand into something more. So also to create that environment of trust, to make that expansion. And acceptance to me is also important, that we also accept each and every one, not depending on culture, race, age, that we all are equal, that I am just at the same as anyone else and opposite. And the last but not least, it's the playfulness. And it's about creating energy and playfulness, that we can sort of breathe out and just be. Because I think when you have fun, when you have that energy and you laugh, you know, you can't be very strong and laugh out loud at the same time. So it's something about creating an environment where it's allowed to be me. You know, it's like, I love to come in here. It's like a little playground. It's like taking out a little child in us. Mm-hmm. And not in a childish way, but just in a way where things flow with fun. I think the word here is, the key word is fun and playfulness. So I work with, like I say, the whole body, and not only NLP as a methodology, but also with the breathing, with moving, with dancing, with physiology. So it's a lot of different components, but it's from your head to your toe.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that, because I was asking you, okay, so how do you work with people? And you started by talking about your values. And then you started moving quite a lot. So I was wondering if your coaching sessions with individuals and with people, you were using body movement quite a lot. Is that?
Yeah, most of my one-to-one sessions are upright. I'm not sitting down, I'm not sitting in a chair, and I'm very rarely taking notes apart from drawing and making symbols. So it's very much about moving around, using the whole body, be aware of the breathing, and kind of feel. It's about a lot about feelings as well, you know, connecting my thoughts to my feelings, that there is a correlation between the head and the body. So it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of playfulness, and, you know, using voice, just playing around, you know. When if you ever have listened to people that warm up their voice, opera singers or something, before they're going to go in, there's a lot of, you know, testing out, what if I go up, what if I go down. And so it's a different way maybe of leading teams and leaders, but it's kind of using the whole of what you see in the mirror.
Yeah.
So it kind of, you know, NLP, as you know, it stands for neuro linguistic programming. I am a kind of easy girl that likes the simplicity. So I say, now let's play. You know, so that's basically, you know, that's basically the underlining of everything I do. It's got to do with now let's just go into play mode and just see what happens if I do this and that, and just test things out.
So I guess whether you're working with individuals or with groups, what they're experiencing is something very different from any other training they will have received. And everything you've said just is moving away from just this focus on the head to the whole body, but also getting people to do things that maybe they wouldn't normally do. So you're already breaking a barrier there. So I can really see how that helps someone become much more connected to themselves. How then do you get them to be more connected or more aware of other people? Or does that just flow from that anyway?
I think that's an interesting question, because it comes from the awareness that I am much more than my brilliant head and my strategy and thoughts. And I actually would love that we start to go into different events, that only strategy events, you know, to make out the 5-year plans or whatever. But you know, when one becomes aware of that, my thoughts are, yes, brilliant, but they kind of are strongly connected to my feelings, and that my senses are such a huge world that can allow me to understand more, to sense more about what's going on in the world around me, meaning the people, that I can see without asking, that, catch, you kind of train your intuition in a way.
Yeah.
And in that perspective, you can connect much on a deeper level with people.
I see.
And that's moving sort of from your conscious mind to your subconscious. And you know, when you meet someone that it can be a total stranger, and you just feel that connection, if you're really present and if you're really there and sensing, you can kind of feel the energy from the other person. So it's a little bit also about tuning in to others, and having kind of the awareness that I'm not alone. I'm kind of connected to every one of you around me in some sense. And a lot of people, we find that kind of weird, because it's a concept that is kind of not commercialized. It's not business-like. It's not to be a manager, being romantic leader, you know. So it's kind of opening up to the inner world of wisdom, where you can make, what you say, these great connections, and they happen because you're tuned into yourself. And I believe that who you are is how you lead.
Yeah. Wow. So you work with both men and women? Groups?
You know, I'm a kind of person that kind of allows, in a way, everyone in, because I think it's important, it's enriching for our lives. But of course, when I have been working with, because in teams you find all women and all men, yes, so it's no kind of exclusion when I work hands-on like that. However, I'm developing a concept now that will be, I don't like to say strictly for women, but you know, at some point you have to pinpoint a group to talk to that specific group. So I'm working with women 40 plus who wants to discover their passion so they can lead, impact others and lead from their hearts. And so the result of that is not only for you as a person, but together you can make, or we can make and create a world where we all want to belong. So it's like a higher kind of mission for me that I believe every one of us can do if we want to. If we want to discover that, why do I do what I do? What is, like what you say, my superpower in a way, you know, what is my gift? What do I kind of, when I do this, I really make sense. It makes sense to me and to my life and to people around me. Because I'm kind of very, you know how we live with the culture, and it's supposed to be like this and that, and when we are this and that age, you're supposed to be blah, 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 you know, all these routines. And I'm about breaking this thing that there is much more than that if you want to, if you allow yourself to go out on an adventure, because it is really a little bit of an adventure within yourself.
So is that up and running yet?
Well, it will be in August/September. So, and that will be for the international market, even if I'm based in Norway.
Yeah.
I've traveled around the world. I've lived in Australia, in Argentina, in Cuba. And I want to go out into the world. So it will be in English. Maybe it will come in Spanish as well, and maybe in Norwegian, but it will be for sure in English. But that's the first. So it will be an online course.
Oh, right. Well, keep us posted on that. So I'm sure you've intrigued people who are watching or listening to this. So if they want to get in touch with you or find out more, how do they do that?
First of all, they can go into my Facebook page, and that's just my name, and that is Katrine Selvik, as you so well pronounced it in the beginning, Florence. Thank you. I used to say that, you know, dear children, we have a saying in Norway, dear children, or have lots of names, you know, so it doesn't matter if it's not the right pronunciation. But Katrine Selvik on Facebook, it's my personal page. So there will be info about where to find me, and it will be posted and updated right there on my Facebook page.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you to you, and thank you to those of you that have been watching or listening. What I will have in the paragraph that's associated with this podcast is the information of how you can get in contact with Katrine. And I'm personally very intrigued by her new program starting in August. So I'll certainly be finding out more about that. So thank you for watching or listening. If you want to find out more about what I do, there's loads of information on my website, which is www.florencemadden.co.uk. So thank you, and I hope you'll join me again next week, because who knows where I'll be in the world then. Bye for now.